Well, Hanna Sheles is the Director of Security Programs at Foreign Policy Council Ukrainian Prism. She joins me now from Odessa. Hanna, great to have you on with us. How has the war, in your opinion, transformed NATO and its policy toward conflict?
First of all, definitely it looks like NATO reopened its purpose because, let's be honest, for the last several years, after the less activities in Afghanistan and with the less and less threats in Europe, NATO turned to the soft security issues, more to the political dialogue training. And only after the Russian aggression, the questions of defense, the collective defense, the deterrence, returned to the agenda of North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And probably all those things that been important in 1949, fight for democracy, protection of human rights, again became the same important, and the understanding that for your democratic values, you need to fight, not only to speak about them, became not less important than in the mid of the Cold War.
So is this becoming exactly the alliance that Putin had feared, with the expansion now to include Finland, possibly Sweden, and possibly even Ukraine in the future?
First of all, I don't like the word expansion because it is enlargement. The countries voluntarily decided that they would like to join the alliance. And Sweden and Finland made their choices after so many decades and even centuries, in case of Sweden, of neutrality because of the Russian aggression, because they realized that neutrality will not protect them, but the collective defense and the power of so many like-minded countries can prevent Russia to attack these two northern countries. That's why it is definitely changing the situation on the ground in Europe with the European security, but it also demonstrates the value of NATO, and it demonstrates why countries of ex-Soviet bloc of Eastern Europe 15 years ago, why now northern countries joined, why Ukraine and Georgia would like to join, because they understand with whom they would like to be, why they would like to be, and how they would like to protect their national security, their independence and sovereignty.
And now with Putin moving nuclear assets to Belarus, what are the concerns? Are we headed to a nuclear standoff?
First of all, it is the great threat for the nuclear non-proliferation regime in the world, because let's remember that in 1990s, both Ukraine and Belarus rejected their nuclear arsenals and signed all nuclear non-proliferation agreements. And what Russia is doing now, they are de facto manipulating with the international law, because they are transferring to the territory of another state what can be violation of that non-proliferation regime. But at the same time, they are still in the control of these missiles, still pretending that it is still their weapons. That is really dangerous, because that can be a precedent to other countries, to other regions. And also it demonstrates that Russia is just neglecting the international law as much as possible. They don't care about the further developments of the nuclear security in the world. But that is not the first time. Let's remember how they violated the nuclear safety regime with occupying and using as the military base the nuclear power plants at the territory of Ukraine. So that's a clear demonstration that for the purpose of threatening others, Russian authorities are ready to violate those regimes that for so many decades been important and core for the international security.
Is there real concern there in Ukraine that Putin will use the nuclear option if he feels, for example, the war is not going as well as he hoped, or he feels backed into a corner?
Honestly, not. And that is quite an interesting. First, we had the sociological survey that demonstrated that 86% of Ukrainians are not afraid of the nuclear strike. Either it is because we experienced Chernobyl and we understand the consequences, or because what Putin already did in Mariupol or in Bakhmut and many other towns by the deconstruction, demolishing of the what's happened is not more dangerous or let's say less dangerous than the nuclear weapon. But the reason number two, we understand that in case he uses nuclear weapons, it means he completely lost the war with conventional weapons. So it is more demonstration of weakness of the Russian Federation rather than strength. And that is more for his personal ambitions, probably, rather than for the real military success or strategic decision. Because let's be honest, after any type of the nuclear strike, we will have absolutely different strong, resolved decisions of the international community against the Russian Federation. That's what we had now when everybody tried to restrain themselves.
All right, Hanna Sheles in Odessa, Ukraine. Hanna, thank you.